Welcome back to the Goal2Go podcast, man. Episode 37. This week we got a 2023 NFL mock draft for the first round. Of course, another segment of Hot or Not. Going to talk about some NBA awards and obviously the playoff first round scenarios going on right now. 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, so that Hawks game just started against the Celtics.
Probably
Celtics
not
up,
missing much, though.
yeah, up 1-0, bro. That's like the most boring series. So
that or the Nuggets.
Yeah, that one too. That's why they put it on NBA TV, bro. Just throw it on
You
there.
don't need it to be nationally televised.
Yeah, definitely not. So we're gonna jump into this 2023 NFL draft. We're just over a week removed. Draft starts on a Thursday. Sitting here Tuesday, the week before. A lot of movement expected to kind of go around in the draft. We're just going to draft straight up. No trades, nothing like that. So we're going to kick it off, man. Carolina Panthers, number 1 pick. I think this has kind of been a no-brainer with the reports coming around. Bryce Young declining interviews with teams, stuff like that. So I think the Panthers go ahead and draft their quarterback of the future and Bryce Young first overall.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the pick. I know there was a lot of speculations like early on saying it might be CJ Stroud because of like the size and, like Frank Reich has only worked with big quarterbacks. But I think at this point, Bryce Young is pretty much consensus QB1. So I think the Texans are in an interesting spot here. I think they could obviously go quarterback, but I did see reports coming out today or yesterday, I think it was today, saying that like they're not opposed to trading the number 2 pick and like are looking around. So you could definitely see another team trade up or see the Texans not pick a quarterback. But I just think for, this franchise's sake, you got a new head coach, kind of a new regime coming in. I think they just want to go with, a quarterback that's going to give you a safe floor and that does have somewhat of a ceiling, who can get better, build around. I think CJ Stroud is the pick here for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, it definitely is. Third up on the draft, you got the Arizona Cardinals. Kind of a weird position. Budda Baker just requested out with the trade. I think you have the quarterback in the future and Kyler Murray. They're probably going to stick it out and not draft another first-round quarterback because they did what, Chosen Rosen and K1. I think they go with the best player in this draft in Will Anderson. Off the edge. Get a good pass rusher. One of the most talented players. You could argue Jalen Carter, but, draft issues, stuff like that. Yeah.
And I think come draft day, I think this pick probably will be traded just because of where the Cardinals are, Also a team that's rebuilding and they don't need quarterback. They just need more players. So I think more draft capital and, bringing in some other players would definitely help them. So I'm pretty sure this pick will be traded. But, I mean, if they stick and pick Will Anderson, probably the best defensive player in the draft. Gives you some, juice off the edge when you lose J.J. Watt. So I think that could definitely be the pick. Here at number 4, the Colts are in an interesting spot. I think it's definitely quarterback, and I think I'm going to go with the upside pick here, man. The Colts have been, ever since Andrew Luck, we always make this joke how they're just stuck in quarterback hell with all these old vets and stuff that only provide a floor and there's no ceiling. So I think I'm going to pick Anthony Richardson here, the most ceiling player in this draft. If he hit, arguably could be one of the best players in the NFL. So I mean, you got Shane Steichen coming over, the new head coach from Philadelphia. He worked with Jalen Hurts. Was a big reason why Jalen Hurts became the highest paid player in NFL and one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So hopefully you can see that same, run heavy offense to help develop Anthony Richardson. Maybe let him sit a year or behind Gardner Minshew or whatever. But either way, I think the Colts, they need something new here. They need to swing for the fences. So I think Anthony Richardson is the pick.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. So what reports been saying, going over Will Levis, who's kind of more play now ready than AR-15, but you mentioned that ceiling. Up next on the clock, man, it's the Seahawks. they got a couple first-round picks. They got 2 of them. So, I just say you go with probably the best player on this board. And it's going to come with the question mark of Jalen Carter. Seahawks had a player to their defense who, they kind of got their offense going, especially with the emergence of Geno. So you're going to rock out with him at QB still. Could draft a quarterback in Will Levis here, but less of a project than AR. So if he's not there, I kind of see the Seahawks going towards Jalen Carter.
Yeah, and I think, the Seahawks are known as one of those organizations where, they can bring in those guys with the question marks, and they have a really, really good foundation. Pete Carroll's been there. Great locker room. So a guy with Jalen Carter who has those character concerns, I think he'll be in a good spot. So number 6, we have the Detroit Lions, who are also in a very interesting spot here. Another team that could go quarterback, but I think we'll see the first 3 quarterbacks go, whether it will be Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young. I think one of them might fall a little bit. So in this case, it just happens to be Will Levis, or someone can trade up and at that number 3 pick and grab one. But I think here with the Lions, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go Devin Witherspoon, the corner from Illinois. Super feisty, has really good tape, aggressive. I think he just fits how the Lions want to play. That Dan Campbell defense, they want to be aggressive. They want to get up in you, play physical. And I think from the corner spot, Devin Witherspoon brings that. So secondary, that they're building it up a little bit, but you bring in Devin Witherspoon, could be a number 1 on that outside. They just traded Jeff Okudah, so is that a position of need now? I think Witherspoon will fit right in and kind of just fit that defense and that that scheme and what they building in that locker room.
Yeah. Especially after that Okudah trade, who was the number 3 overall pick just a few years ago, coming out of OU.
Yeah.
Ohio State University, now Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves the Raiders on the clock, man. And with this team, it goes in any direction, man. You kind of got your star players not buying in, and Josh Jacobs. Reports swirling around that this organization right now is not in the best spot. Just got a quarterback, but is it the quarterback of your future? It could go with Will Levis. I think it's a little early here to take him. So, I mean, they need help everywhere. So, you really can't go wrong with the pick here. I'm going to go with the tackle. You got a quarterback for now. So, I think they go with the tackle from Northwestern and Peter Skoronski. Go ahead and beef up that O-line. They missed on the last tackle they took in the first round, and Alex Leatherwood. But they go ahead and take a tackle here, try to beef up that O-line.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Skoronski also brings some flexibility, come move in the guard, tackle. So a lot of things you could do there. I think that's a pretty good pick for the Raiders. On the clock, we have the Atlanta Falcons, and I think if the board falls this way, I think they run this pick up to the clock. I'm going to go Tyree Wilson. Kind of just fits exactly what the Atlanta Falcons need. Some juice off the edge, super athletic, high upside pass rusher, and that's what they're missing in Atlanta. That defense is kind of on the, downside. Not really too much there going on in terms of pass rush. Grady Jarrett, he's there. He's getting older. I think he's sliding Tyree Wilson, bring some juice off the edge.
Yeah, that's going to put up the Chicago Bears with that 9 pick, man. A lot of holes in this team. You could see them possibly going almost anywhere across the board, possibly a receiver. But I think they go defense here, kind of steal the pick. I know you were hoping for the Eagles. And cornerback Christian Gonzalez got good size. And they really need a playmaker on defense. And they really lack that, especially, after shipping out Roquan this season.
Yeah, I think Christian Gonzalez would fit. That's a good pick. So number 10, Eagles on the board. Now, me personally, I would like to see, I know it'll be fun to see them add some firepower on the offense. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think he'd fit perfectly. Throw him in the slot, have that wide receiver trio just be unstoppable, help Hurts even more. Bijan Robinson is always that would be unstoppable. That running game, Jalen Hurts and Bijan in the backfield would just be, an insane duo. But we know the Eagles. We know how they draft. And I believe we will see them pick a player in the trenches here. So I'm going to go with... Dang, I think if the board falls like this, I think they trade down. But I don't know. Dang. I'm gonna go with the tackle Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. I think he was literally just visited the Eagles today. Big athletic tackle, and Lane Johnson. I think he just signed like an extension for like 2 years, but that line is getting old. Just bring in somebody for the future. Probably won't be picking at number 10 again. So get a talented tackle that you can develop for a few years. So that way, when he's ready to come in, just plug and play. You don't even have to worry about it. So I'm going to go Paris Johnson Jr. here.
Yeah, it leaves the Titans with the 11th pick. And a lot of question marks with their team, possibly moving Derrick Henry. Current situation right now, they have nobody on the outside. Not really a throwing team. So I think they go out their way and finally add a weapon. They let A.J. Brown walk. I think you go best player available. And that's JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba. So he flies off the board. Now he's a Tennessee Titan.
I do think that would be a good fit. Him and Traylon Burks, nice young receiving core building there. I think that also could be a spot for Will Levis, but if they pass on him, rock with Tannehill for a few more years, I wouldn't be surprised. So now we got the Texans back on the clock who went C.J. Stroud. And you know what? I might do it, bro. I might give him Bijan, fam. Just bring in more firepower.
Even after drafting a running back last year?
Yeah, Dameon Pierce, he's a solid running back, but if you bring in somebody like Bijan, just a 3-down back, arguably one of the best running back prospects we've had in a while. They're okay at tackle. You know what? Actually, no. I'm going to do that. Yeah. I'm going to give him Bijan Robinson. Bring in C.J. Stroud. Why not bring in Bijan? Keep him in the home state of Texas. So I think, Texans fans won't hate it. That way you have a, 2 running back committee. Dameon Pierce and Bijan Robinson. 2 running backs where, Dameon Pierce, that more of a bruiser in between the tackles, and Bijan can kind of do it all. So I think it'll be a nice change of pace and make it just a little bit easier on C.J. Stroud, who's used to playing with a bunch of talent around him. So I think here they want to build talent, give him some players around him. So I think Bijan will fit nicely in that offense.
Yeah. Some might say, is it too early to take a running back? But we've seen some success with, early draft running backs, short careers for running backs. We know that. So, get the production while they can.
And get them on that 5th-year option, too.
Yeah, and Bijan, obviously, talented back, goes off the board early. Next up is the Jets with 13. If you're the Jets, man, I would take a quarterback. But, obviously, we don't know Rodgers, everything going on. Still not a Jet. So it's like, is Rodgers going to be a Jet? Like, is this actually going to happen? It's just been rumor after rumor. Nothing's quite went on. Don't think they take a quarterback. Think they're stuck with Zach Wilson if they don't get Rodgers. I think they got to go possibly tackle here. Trying to see. I think they go, it's got to be Tennessee tackle Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
Goes off the board here, 13 to the Jets.
I think if it's solid pass protector, and if they do get Rodgers, help them stand upright. All right, New England Patriots on the clock here. I can see them going a few different ways, but I think I'm going to go receiver here. And I'm going to have him... Hold up, let me see.
Bill Belichick's never done that.
Well, no, they've taken first round receivers. They just never hit. They took N'Keal Harry in the first
That was
round.
like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
It was like 30.
a little later, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was like pick like 20 or something like that. But I could, you know what? I'm not gonna go receiver here. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go Lucas Van Ness. Versatile pass rusher, a lot of strength, freak athlete, gives you a lot of burst off the edge, and I think that's just something the Patriots could use. He's just a Patriots type of player, you know, from Iowa, used to that cold weather, give you a lot of bend off the edge. So yeah, I'm gonna go Lucas Van Ness here for the Patriots.
I think that's a good quality value pick. Something that, the Patriots always do, and player that's going to fit Belichick's system for sure.
Yeah.
Next up, the Green Bay Packers. We just talked about them. They don't know who their QB is. Is Jordan Love the answer? Still really haven't seen that. It's been a couple of years now for Jay Love. Just been sitting on that back burner. They don't have any weapons on the outside. They could use a tight end. I think it's a little early for a tight end. So I think best player available right now is a wide receiver, and Johnston from TCU. I think they go ahead and take a first-round receiver, something they never did with Rodgers. Get Jay Love some help if Aaron Rodgers is out this season. Get him a little help on the outside, man. Make it easy for him. You got Christian Watson. Go ahead and add another big-size receiver on the outside.
Yeah, kind of similar in traits in terms of, speedy, big-body receivers. Also kind of some of the same questions Watson had, are the hands fully there? But you saw how Watson developed throughout the season, so hopefully Quentin Johnson develops the same and can be a big-time playmaker on the outside for Jordan Love. So I am not mad at it at all. On the clock here, we have the Washington Commanders, and I am going to take cornerback Joey Porter Jr. right before the Steelers. I just think it's a really good fit. Washington, they have a really, really good D-line. We know what that pass rush is capable of. So bring a long, rangy outside corner, especially in that division. A lot of talented receivers on the Eagles and Cowboys. So you're going to need somebody out there to cover. I think Joey Porter Jr. can do that for Washington Commanders. So I'm going to have him going to Washington.
Did the Steelers get someone today?
I'm not too sure. I didn't
think it was maybe Allen Robinson.
Oh, Allen Robinson.
Physical.
I did see. Yeah, I did see
that. Okay.
I mean,
I thought it was a DB. Yeah, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
So that kind of leaves the Steelers in hell, which I like. You mentioned they needed that DB. They got the D line. That's kind of like what's the best available right now.
Yeah.
Don't need a tight end. So I think they look to the Maryland quarterback and Deontay Banks here because, tackles, they're not really, you might be reaching a little. So I think you go with, Banks out of Maryland here. They really need a DB in a corner. So I think they add him.
Yeah, I think he fits. So the Lions on the clock here at pick 18. And who'd you have them take? Oh, I took Devin Witherspoon earlier. Let me take a look at the offensive side of the ball before I pick who I think I know I want to go with. Could go tight end here. They just traded TJ Hawkinson. But honestly, I think offense really isn't the problem. They scored a bunch of points. They got weapons. I'm going to go Kalijah Kancey here, actually. Solid. A little undersized, but, I mean, in terms of pass rush, super, super elite, can get after the quarterback, put him on the inside. You got two solid pass rushers on the outside. You just took Aiden Hutchinson last year. Houston was a really, really big pickup late in rounds, kind of come in on those third down, second down pass plays, and just get after the quarterback. Bring in Kalijah Kancey in the middle, put him on a solid D-line. I think the Lions will be building something pretty special over there if they can kind of attack the defensive side of the knees of the ball where the offense is kind of already set.
Yeah. Next up was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And addition to Baker Mayfield, you still have Kyle Trask. Will Levis still sitting on the board. If you're the Bucks, do you look at this and like, do we take Will Levis? I mean, I don't know the answer. I'm not an NFL GM. I wish, but the Bucks, they got some holes to fix for sure. Mike Evans getting up there in age, Godwin, his health, on and off. Don't really have a running back. Fournette, not really that guy. So in the defense, not really too stellar. Levante David, he's out basically. I think he wanted like some crazy contract for his age, but. I could see them taking Will Levis here. I mean, he's fallen all the way to pick 19. Wouldn't be bad. You got a third quarterback on the roster. I don't know. It depends how much they actually believe in Baker. I think they go tight end here. I mean, they really don't have a tight end. You had a weapon. You got Baker. He loves throwing at his tight ends all those years in Cleveland. Had Njoku, Hooper, who just drop passes consistently in Cleveland. But, hopefully Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they go Kincaid here out of Utah and get a tight end. First tight end off the board at pick 19.
Yeah, and, I mean, we've seen the Bucks take a tight end in the first round before in O.J. Howard a few years back. So
it was like
that's a pretty interesting pick. I think it could happen. So the Seahawks back on the clock here. They took Jalen Carter at pick number 5. Arguably, the best player in the draft class, or talent-wise. So I'm looking at the board here. What do they really need in terms of... Here it says their needs are center, defensive line, and guard. Could go Cyrus Torrance out of Florida, arguably the best guard in the draft. But they take Jalen Carter, and I'm going to pair him with his teammate and take the athletic freak draft combine superstar in Nolan Smith and just kind of beef up that defensive line. I mean, we saw them they attacked the secondary pretty well last year in the draft. They got Tariq Woolen. So now we see them double up on defensive line here. And if Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter can, pan out and become what we think they can and hit their ceilings, I mean, that's an insane duo. So I think Seahawks will be really happy if they can get that done.
Yeah, I almost thought about taking him with that previous pick to Tampa.
Yeah.
Freak athlete for sure. That leaves the Chargers on the clock at 22. And, it says they need a receiver. Keenan Allen's up there in age, never on the field. Mike Williams. I think the last time maybe the Chargers took a receiver in the first round was him. So, do they go receiver, pick 22? Do they go, they don't need a pass rusher. They really don't need safety help. Hardly see a safety. I mean, pick 22, you could see him. This is tough for the Chargers. I might draft back. I mean, Bijan Robinson here would be nice. That might be a guy you take if he's available, but man. Do they go? You know what? I'm gonna say they go Zay Flowers from Boston College. Might be a little bit of a reach.
I think that's a good pick.
But if it's a need they have, and get Herbert some help, man. You've been saying it all along. Get Herbert some help. So there it is.
Yeah, and if Zay Flowers was here for the Ravens, that's probably who I would have ended up taking. But he's not, so I'm gonna go with the second best receiver at this point, I believe. And I'm going to take Jordan Addison, pure route runner, smooth, just gets open. And, trying to keep Lamar Jackson at this point, just show him that you're committed, bringing in those offensive weapons for him. And I think Jordan Addison goes off the clock here at pick 22 to the Ravens.
Yeah. And that's bad news for Browns fans because receivers are flying off the board. Maybe looking to add one. But with the emergence in the trade, not emergence, the trade of Elijah Moore, less of a need for him. But that leaves the Vikings on the clock, pick 23. A lot of question marks. Kirk Cousins, how many years left on his contract? This might be.
I don't know. I feel like there's always just 1 year left. They always reconstruct his deal and just give him 1 year.
Yeah. And you got a young guy in J Jets. This is probably not where the Vikings go, but this guy slid back far enough, man. And I'm going to go with Will Levis from Kentucky.
I like it.
Kirk Cousins, you don't know how much he got left in the tank. Always iffy. Yeah.
Sit behind. That's a good pick. I think that could be one of the best, fits in terms of player's career panning out. Goes to the Vikings. When Will Levis steps in, he'll have Justin Jefferson, probably the best receiver in the league. So that'll definitely help. Pick 24 here. Jacksonville Jaguars have been pretty much tied and linked to Brian Branch this whole offseason, and he's here. So I think I'm just slide him in. He fits perfect on that defense. They need help back in that secondary. So I just think it's a really good fit.
Yeah, and Brian Branch, one of the more talented players, especially coming out of Bama. We've seen what they produce out there on the defensive side of the ball. Mika, Brian Branch, versatile guy that can really move across the field. New York Giants pick 26. Giants surprising season last year, picking at 26. If you said that at the beginning of the year, you probably would have said they're picking 6. But no, here they are picking 26. And you just took the safety off the board, which would have been a good fit for the Giants. That's a need they have. Daniel Jones, not really too much of a true passer. And as I mentioned before, receivers flying off the board. So they could kind of reach here and take a receiver. But I don't think they go that route. It's tough to say. They don't. Who's the Giants' corners right now? It's
a little thin. I think they have what's his name from the Titans? Adoree Jackson. He's been banged up. It's kind of a thin cornerback room, if I'm not mistaken. They have what's his name from UCLA? Forgot his name. A slot corner.
They drafted a corner last year, Leonard Johnson.
So I'm thinking of
coming back from an ACL. So I honestly,
they need cornerback.
Yeah, let's go Emmanuel Forbes, Mississippi State. Giants. Daniel Jones not really a true passer, and not gonna reach for that wide receiver right now. Obviously no Bijan, so they don't get a running back. Possible replacement for Saquon's future. They go DB there.
Pick 26 here. We got the Cowboys and could go defensive line here, but I'm gonna actually have them take a tight end here. Dalton Schultz just left in free agency, and Michael Mayer sitting here. Could be a nice replacement. Good run blocker. Help, they like to run the ball with Tony Pollard. Also, just a safety blanket for Dak. He'll be able to get open. Red zone threat. I think Michael Mayer is a good fit here for the Dallas Cowboys. Give him more options. Like we saw down the stretch in the playoffs. If it wasn't CeeDee Lamb, there was really no one else. So Gallup comes back healthy. Throwing Michael Mayer, kind of a seamless replacement for Dalton Schultz.
Yeah. I think he fits the system real well and kind of replaces him. And you said it well. So next up, the Buffalo Bills on the clock at pick 28. When you look at them, the only hole I have with them is scheming and coaching. Stephon Diggs said, we got the players, we got the plays. Shit ain't working. Basically, yeah. So whichever direction the Bills go in, right now, D-line and edge seem to be the best options, but they got young players and then Von Miller off the edge. So I don't think they really have. I think their O-line is a little bit mid, right?
A little bit.
So I think they go ahead and take a tackle here. You got a couple you could pick from, I think.
Yeah.
It depends what you're looking for. Someone that could swing inside, someone could swing outside. I like Broderick Jones from Georgia.
Yeah. Super young, high upside tackle. Yeah.
And it's not like they need a play right now tackle, so definitely high upside. He's got the size.
Yeah, he's only I think he's 20 or something like that. He's super young. So he has time to develop.
High ceiling, I think that's what they go for.
Mm-hmm. On the clock here, Cincinnati Bengals. And I think we could see another tackle here, another offensive lineman. But I'm going to go on the defensive line. And I'm going to take Brian Brzee, interior pass rusher. I think he just brings a lot of versatility. And, in the Cincinnati, playing in the AFC North, you got to get pressure, you got to get the quarterback, and you got to get stops, especially in the AFC against all those quarterbacks. I think being able to get out the passer after the passer, push the pocket from the interior, I think Brian Brzee would be a good fit in Cincinnati.
I'm just left with the stellar NFC South in this draft. Pick number 30, New Orleans Saints. This is the Eagles pick, isn't it?
The one that
30?
we traded?
Yeah.
No.
Nah.
This is from San Fran.
So pick number 30, New Orleans Saints on the clock. Holes everywhere. There's really not a spot on the roster that has a hole. Mike Thomas restructured. It's great for New Orleans. They really needed that. I think they try to go O-line, and you said the best guard in the draft. I think it's time. He flies off the board. Sirens out of Florida. Pick number 30 goes off the board.
Yeah, I think that's a good fit. Just bring in Derek Carr, help him stay upright. All right, now we have Philadelphia Eagles on the clock here. And this could go a lot of different ways, but I think if Myles Murphy slides all the way to pick 30, I don't think Howie hesitates. I think that'll be the pick here. Now, I think it would be really interesting if we bring in Jahmyr Gibbs. That's just me, kind of help that run game. But ultimately, we know what the Eagles value. I think they built from the trenches here, and I think Myles Murphy ends up being the selection.
Yeah, I mean, just best player available.
Solid.
That's what they go
rusher.
with. Yeah. Pick number 32, defending Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. It really depends which one you want to go with here. I think whatchamacallit is a free agent. Or am I tripping? Their tackle, Orlando Brown.
He's on the Bengals, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't he?
Yeah, I think
he walked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was on a franchise tag. I don't know if it says they need a wide receiver D-line. But I'm pretty sure they got a hole at tackle that they might want to address, especially with Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. So I really think there's 3 players you could take here. Realistically, 2. You got Will McDonald out of Iowa, edge rusher. Or you go Anton Harrison, tackle out of Oklahoma. Tackle need, I'm going Anton Harrison here. Protect your big bag and Patrick Mahomes. Buy him some time in the pocket. Keep him clean.
Yeah. I think that was a pretty good draft. So I think a lot of these picks could happen, especially without doing trades, just sticking and picking. A lot of these players seem to be good fits. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, you want to run through the first 5 picks we got just real quick?
Yeah, so we got Bryce Young going off the board at number 1 to Carolina. C.J. Stroud, number 2 to the Texans. Cardinals stand at pick number 3, taking Will Anderson, edge rusher. High upside quarterback Anthony Richardson off to the Colts at number 4. And then arguably the best player in the draft, Jalen Carter, with some character concerns, sliding to number 5 to the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, it wraps up 2023 NFL mock draft. Obviously.
What was your favorite pick out of everyone we did?
Um, I would say C.J. Stroud. I really think C.J. Stroud's probably the best quarterback. I mean, obviously, tremendous talent player. Obviously, top 3 pick, no doubt. But I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. And, I mean, you could go – I like Jackson Smith at 11 to the Titans. I think he's top receiver in this league, top 10 pick possibly. Just wasn't really in need. What about you?
If he would have fell to number 12, I think that would have been a really great fit, pairing him back up with C.J. Stroud. That would have been a pretty cool storyline. But honestly, I think Joey Porter to the Washington Commanders is a really, really good pick. Getting a cornerback 1 at pick 16. And I think it's kind of funny, the storyline, because if he's there for the Steelers, I think he goes right off the board. But I think it's a really good fit, especially, having to guard those receivers, like I mentioned, in Dallas and Philly. So I think that's a really seamless fit. Joey Porter would be a really good corner. And the Bears, getting Christian Gonzalez at number 9. I just like the corners in this draft.
Yeah. I mean, shit, we'll see on Thursday, man, when this draft kicks off.
Mm-hmm. And we'll do another one next week too, our last one right before. There'll be some more information coming out.
Yeah, let's see if any movement happens pre-draft or if it's all draft night. Moving on, man. Hot or not. Let's jump right into it. I mean, it's hoop season right now, man.
It is.
I know it's the draft, but basketball is really heating up. Let's see. Just want to check that score real quick. See if you think the Hawks get swept?
If I had to bet on a team that would get swept, it'd probably be them.
They're up 19-11 right now. 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Hot or not? Guess I'll start you off this week.
Bet.
They've lit the beam twice already. Hot or not? The Kings will come out the West.
I think that is a hot take right now. They've looked really, really good so far in this first round. So if you were to ask to come out the first round, I would say no, that's not a hot take. I think they could easily beat the Warriors. But coming out the West is a different animal. I mean, we saw the Lakers play game 1. They looked really good. The Nuggets are looking like regular season Nuggets right now. I know it's against the Timberwolves, but they look pretty dominant. The Clippers, they showed some, fight, beating the Suns at home. So I think the West is still very much so wide open. I think the Kings have a chance. They've looked really good, but I won't say it's a lock for them to come out the West right now. I think there's a few teams I'd definitely take above them, but I think they've been playing very well and could beat the Warriors round 1.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. A lot of talent out there, but it's fun watching the Kings, man. I enjoy watching them. So keep lighting the beam, man. They haven't had shit going on for years, so keeping it, with these kind of borderline teams. Hot or not, Cavs will have a first round exit.
I'm going to say it's not a hot take, and I can see them losing to New York. But ultimately, I personally think they'll end up winning the series just because, the talent they had. Darius Garland had a really off night. I doubt he has a game like that again. Jalen Brunson, he got kind of hot late, and it seemed when he came out of the game and sat almost the entire, I think it was the third quarter or second quarter, I can't remember. But he had some time to sit down. So when he came back, he was the only fresh one out there. He played a really, really good game. But I just think, Donovan Mitchell, he'll give you 1 or 2 big games, kind of just win you those games. And I think Darius Garland steps it up offensively. So I personally think the Cavs end up winning this series. But I can definitely see a world where Brunson and Randall are just kind of too much. Josh Hart coming in, had 10 rebounds that game. For a guard is just insane. The amount of boards he's able to get just shows that Hart. No pun intended, but but I think this is coming into the series, we said this would be, one of the most competitive, compelling series. And so far, there's been a lot of them, but this one has been up there. So I don't think it's a hot take. I think the Knicks can win, and I think they can beat the Cavs. But personally, I think the Cavs end up winning.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of which, their game set to tip off 20 minutes ago, but still hasn't yet. So more to come with that. They're up 1-0 in the Knicks right now. Hotter. Well, before I ask, game 2 last night for the Warriors Kings. Obviously, Kings won, and Draymond had another classic Draymond incident. So news came out, Draymond's gonna be fine, not suspended. But in your opinion, hot or not, Draymond should be suspended.
I don't think they should suspend him, man. I mean, it's playoff basketball. Things are gonna happen. It gets chippy.
Stop.
I mean, listen. Sabonis grabbed his leg. Now is a stomp. That was a little overboard. I don't think he had to step on
kick, like
he probably didn't have to step on the man's chest like that. But
it's a little donkey kick.
Listen, this is the big brother, little brother series, man. The Kings so far, they're up 2-0. They feel like they have a shot to win the series. They're not backing down. And the Warriors, they feel like they've been here before. They know what it takes to win championships. So things are going to get chippy. It's going to get heated. They were on the road. You saw him getting into it with the crowd afterwards. I think it's just Draymond being Draymond. Sabonis putting on a little show there at the end. Now, I don't think his ribs are broken or bruised or anything because afterwards he's on the bench, like, smiling and laughing. Like, he's fine. Draymond's fine. It's playoff basketball. Things happen. It gets chippy. Let him play.
Had to hurt a little bit, though.
I mean, yeah, but don't grab the man's leg, bro.
It's a little donkey. Bro, he barely grabbed it, bro.
No, he had 2 arms wrapped around Draymond's leg. Now, come on, bro. Like,
I just don't understand Draymond, bro. He talking shit to the crowd. Like, what was that gonna do, bro?
I think a fine is perfectly acceptable. Take his money, fine him, but
they just don't.
You want to keep the best.
Him. Yeah. After what happened last time when they suspended him in the playoffs, like
not even. You want to give the fans, the NBA, its best product. I mean, the NBA is buzzing right now. It's a bunch of good series. If you take Draymond out, it definitely changes the series. So you want to keep him in there at home. I think the Warriors can get 2 games at home. So I think it definitely make it a really, really good series. So keep Draymond in, man.
I will say I like Draymond in the media. I think he is good for the basketball media, but I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I was a player, bro, and I just saw him like when he was talking shit to the crowd, like I would just hate him, bro. Like he'd probably be my most hated player. But yeah, it just is hilarious.
All right, well that was a good question for you to end off on because it'll transition to my first one. So I'll give you hot or not. The Warriors dynasty is officially coming to an end.
Let's say that's a hot take. Coming to an end, I would say, they might have a chip left in them. They get another key piece, maybe in the offseason. You're right back in business. It's not like Curry and Clay have kind of dropped off the face of the earth. They just suck on the road, man, and they have all season. They haven't been able to get a win. Maybe it's time for Draymond to come to an end in Golden State.
Yeah.
But between Curry and Clay, you got Jordan Poole. You got some talent around them. So I still think they could compete and get to a finals. Maybe not win it, but to say that it's officially over already just after Clay, finally got back healthy, had one of the best seasons in a long time he's had, I would say it's far from over. And I think the Warriors might get 2 at home here and go back to Sacramento and have to win one of those tough games on the road.
Yeah. So the second one I got, this will be a fun one for you, right up your alley. Hot or not, Miami Heat can win round 1 with an injured Giannis.
That's not a hot take. I mean, they definitely can. Giannis doubtful for tomorrow's game. Tyler Hero obviously broken hand. He's having surgery. Big loss. Didn't need to dive on that ball at all. But I can appreciate a little heart, so I'm not really gonna blame him for it. Needless to say, they can definitely get a win. Jimmy playing like playoff Jimmy, looking like he cares about the Heat again. Gabe Vincent knocking down some big shots. Caleb Martin giving big effort. Bam, after Hero went down, he stepped up and finally stopped being scared. And if the Bucks go to that 2-3 zone again, the Heat are going to kill them all day. They went for it not too long. I think it was in after Giannis went down, and Jimmy kept attacking the middle, and it was either Jimmy, mid-range or dump off to Bam down low. And Strus right now is the best shooter probably in the playoffs. So I'm going to say they could definitely win it.
There's a path. All right. Your little take about the Nuggets not being a threat and the Grizzlies looking like a better threat than them isn't looking too good right now. So, hot or not, Nuggets are clearly the best in the West as we speak.
I'm going to say that's a hot take. I still don't think they're the best in the West. They're playing the T-Wolves, and while you talk about the Grizzlies, Ja did go down with a fractured hand, basically. But not to mention, bro, not even to get started on the refs in that game with the Grizzlies. But I mean, I'm just not buying into the Nuggets. They're gonna have to prove to me in the conference finals, in the finals, that they can get it done. We've seen them; they could get past the first round. You're playing, the Timberwolves, who, ain't really young. Cat. I did say I do think Cat could be a number one somewhere else. I take that back this week. I don't think he could be a number one, a true number one. But it's just I can't buy into the Nuggets. They prove me wrong. I'll sit up here and say it, man. I didn't believe in them. Jokic proved me wrong. Jamal Murray's just gonna have to play it different and keep it going into the deep playoff run to really be a scary team, in my opinion. But all the pieces are playing well. They're playing their roles. So they definitely can make some noise, but I just don't see them being the best in the West. You mentioned the depth that they have. There really is no clear front runner because, the Suns, they could go win 4 in a row against the Clippers. But the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, he's on a different planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it all in Kawhi Leonard style. I got a question. Do you think Kawhi Leonard is, I don't want to say this generation, but maybe just the last 5 years, the best playoff performer?
When he's on the court, yeah, but I mean, his what was that in the bubble before he went down with that injury? He was on a tear. He was playing really well, and then just the year before that, 2019, I mean, he literally won a championship and carried that team. So I think you can argue that, but I mean, what Steph did last year, won Finals MVP, how he kind of took over and carried that team down the stretch, I think Steph has a very fair argument for that. But I mean, in terms of, just winning games and being able to perform on the highest level, Kawhi is definitely up there. Now you got LeBron when he was in the bubble and when he's healthy in the playoffs, what he's still able to do, he can kind of, turn that switch on. So I think he's in the conversation. Luka, what he did the past 2 years when he was into that Clippers team where he just went absolutely crazy, beat them himself, took out the Suns. Yeah, so I think Luka is up there as well. But in terms of, playoff performers in the last few years, I think when he's healthy and on the court, you got to mention Kawhi's name, man. He proved it again in Game 1. I think he had 38 points or something like that, shooting efficient from the field. He got the 3-ball falling, and when Kawhi's got the 3-ball going, there's pretty much just no way to stop him. He's scoring on all 3 levels.
Yeah, for sure. That was your third hot or not, right?
Yeah.
That was your last one, yeah. That's going to wrap up hot or not segment for this week. Moving on, we're just going to touch on the awards pretty much solidified. Jaren Jackson Jr. did win DPOY last night. Well deserved. I agree with it. You got any objections with that?
I think it's deserving. The only real objection I would say is, he fouls a lot and he's not really on the court because he fouls a lot. So, I mean, if you want to argue that, you can, but ultimately the way he is able to, get to shots around the rim, alter shots, be able to affect the game in the paint, he's deserving.
Yeah. Moving on, I just want to go with the unanimous one, Coach of the Year, Mike Brown from the Kings. Pretty sure there's no objections on that. First playoff appearance in 17 years. Number 3 seed in this tough West. De'Aaron Fox he's got all those guys clicking on another level. Coach of the year.
Yeah, and he's shown it in the playoffs too, making those adjustments, especially game 2, having Markkanen, step up and guard the pick and roll, and that defense they're playing is just pretty insane against the Golden State Warriors, who are arguably, team that literally changed the way basketball is played.
Yeah, I did see pick a side. They were arguing if the Kings had enough guys to kind of like just switch around with the guys on the Warriors. And you mentioned it, Markkanen switching and making those adjustments seem to be working for the Kings. I'm pretty sure Rookie of the Year, another lock almost, in Paolo from the Magic, first overall pick, well-deserved. Just all season long, consistently putting up his numbers, and I know it's on the Magic, but they got a pretty bright future and young talent over there in Orlando, possibly turn something around for that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, at times during the season, there were stretches where, he was inefficient and kind of just putting up shots, but like you mentioned, man, it was on a not so good Magic team, and although he might have been inefficient, he was still able to put up those numbers, put shots in the basket. So I think, I don't think there's really any argument for Paolo. And I think there's on JPA basketball right now, there's a report saying Paolo would be unanimous, but there's a voter from the Salt Lake Tribune who voted Walker Kessler. So he's the only reason why he isn't the unanimous Rookie of the Year, which I think is pretty insane. And I'm a big Walker Kessler fan, considering he helped me win, my fantasy basketball championship. But he's a really, really good defensive player, insane shot blocker. But, I mean, nothing compares to what Paolo was doing. He's just on a different level. He's basically a number one option in the league, came in right now, and there's been no other rookie to do, or that has been asked to do what Paolo's been asked to do.
Yeah. Did you ever get paid from that league, bro?
Bro, come on. You really think Max is paying anybody, bro? Like,
it's crazy, man. You got to kick him out as commish, bro. It's just banned from all leagues at this point. MVP, it's...
Actually, no. He did say next time he comes down or we link up, he said drinks were on him. So.
Well, he owes you like $100.
That's what he said, so.
This is going to be a lot of drinks, man. I think he's getting a good end of this deal, but... Anyways, MVP.
I'll slide you one too, fam.
Yeah,
make it worth his while.
Everything on his eats too, bro. He owe you eats and drinks, bro. Like, oh man. Anyways, MVP. It's starting to get more clear cut with that as well. I think Embiid's leading that cast too. I don't have any issues with that. I actually kind of think Embiid is deserving. Hasn't won one the past couple of years. Has definitely put up MVP numbers, arguably, in each season. For him to finally get one, I think it's almost about time.
Yeah, I think all three of those guys are deserving, in terms of Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid. But kind of like you mentioned, it's just about time for Embiid, leading the league in scoring, did it back-to-back years, just a very, very dominant player. And you kind of just see how his game has developed over the years and how he's able to score the ball, at all three different levels. I think it was time for him to win this award. And defensively, how he impacts the game as well.
Yeah. Next up is, let's talk on six man. I was doing, it's probably going to be Malcolm Brogdon from the Celtics, Emmanuel Quickley, the other option over there in New York. I would say Brogdon has the better numbers, more efficient. I think he's averaging one more rebound, one more assist, shooting like 10% better from three, like 5% from the field. He has the better numbers, but Quickly, obviously, on the Knicks, had a lot less expectations, way less of a proven player. So, kind of just giving him his flowers.
I think he's also had, the bigger games. He stepped in. He had, how much did he have that one game? I think he had like 50 or something. Yeah. That one game in New York, like prime time. I forgot. He went crazy, though. He put up a bunch of points. He's had a few highlight plays this season. So I think, playing for the Knicks, obviously he's going to get a lot of that buzz in that big market city. But Brogdon's been kind of the more, consistent player, whereas Quickly's came in for spurts and just, lit the league up, had some really, really good performances. So I think both players are really deserving, but ultimately, kind of like you mentioned, Malcolm Brogdon, I think, will edge him out. and I'm not too mad about it.
Yeah. Most improved player. This is the only one I got an argument with. My pick is SGA. Who's in the lead right now is Laurie.
Yeah. By a decent margin.
Yeah. Probably SGA. He was always expected to be a superstar in this league. Kind of, didn't meet expectations first couple years, and he averaged 20, but he was on the Thunder, this and that. Marketing never really came in the league to be a guy, like maybe a role player, and he's done more than just be a role player. But I think the fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder even contended for this playoff position in the playing game, SGA averaging 31 on, the best shooting of his career, best everything of his career, and for a team on Thunder whose average age is our age, is kind of crazy. But Markkanen, obviously, great season. No hate towards him. I just think, the leap of improvement for SGA was like he just hit a higher ceiling. Markkanen might have gained more in an improved layer, but I think that's why they're going with Markkanen.
Yeah, and I kind of disagree with you, not fully because you made a great argument for SGA, but I do think it should be Lauri Markkanen. And I think, I think 2 years back when Ja won Most Improved, when he was already kind of a superstar, and then he just took that, or he was already a star, and took that leap to superstar. Whereas, when you think of Most Improved, you kind of think of like that role player, that guy that really didn't have too many expectations and put up really, really good numbers. And I think Lauri Markkanen is the one that fits that perfectly. SGA, I feel like we already knew what he was. He was kind of in that same role as Ja, where he was a star. It was just, whether he was going to be healthy or not. If he was able to play, a majority of the season and stay on the court, I think we saw flashes and we knew he'd be able to put up numbers like this. Now, 33 points a game, being one of the, league leading scorers, maybe not that much, but I feel like you saw flashes. You knew that SGA could be one of the top players in the league, whereas Lauri Markkanen, I mean, his last few years in Chicago and Cleveland, it looked like he might damn near be out the league, bro. Like, he started really, really hot in Chicago. I think that was his rookie or second year. He had a really good year, and then he just went kind of quiet after that. But out there in Utah, turned his career around, playing really, really good basketball, became an all-star this year. So I think he's more than deserving of this award. I think if he wins, they get it right.
And yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from Markkanen at all, but
no, for sure, yeah, I get your argument. What you're saying,
yeah, both players definitely, deserving of something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's gonna wrap up. We covered all the awards, right? Yeah, we covered all the awards.
Fox with the clutch player.
Yeah, he got clutch player.
Yeah, that
well
was
deserved.
He had like crazy numbers down the stretch in the clutch.
Yeah, plus 38 points in the first playoff game of his career.
And that's second highest of all time, I believe.
Yeah, second highest of all time.
In a playoff debut, yeah.
So, covering NBA awards, that takes us right into the playoffs, man. Obviously said Hawks, Celtics going at it tonight. Hawks up 7, nearing the end of the first. Knicks, Cavs on tonight. And then, was it Clippers?
Clippers, Suns, I believe, in the late game.
Yeah, Clippers, Suns with the 10 o'clock. So, is there any, shocking, start to these series that you've seen that have caught your eye?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is the Clippers getting it done in Phoenix. The Suns kind of came out a little flat. Looked like they haven't, played a lot together. Although, during the regular season, we saw when they did play together, they were 8-0. But playoff basketball, it's a little different atmosphere, and it kind of showed, that chemistry that they were lacking. Guys kind of looked a little out of place. KD was off to a really slow start. Booker couldn't get really anything to fall, and the Clippers kind of just were more aggressive. Westbrook came out with that energy he's always going to come out with, affecting the game. Even though he wasn't scoring or shooting really well, he's still finding ways, down the stretch, make the biggest play of the game, grab those offensive boards, kind of, just being Russ and wanting it more at the end of the game. Went up to the camera and, pulled his shirt to the side and poured it to his heart. And that's just, that's where Westbrook, he's going to give it his all, even if he isn't shooting the best from the field. He's still going to go out 100%, your favorite player. So I think.
Not my favorite, bro. He just got heart, bro.
I think especially game one coming into the playoffs, Phoenix at home, kind of expected them to get that win. But, Kawhi and the Clippers had other plans, and it showed down the stretch. The offensive boards, the effort, Kawhi getting to his spots. I think he had like 13 points in the fourth quarter or something. Suns fought back, but the Clippers they were just a little too much down the stretch.
Yeah. It was definitely surprising, especially I think Kawhi going for 38 and
no Paul George as well.
Yeah, PG out for the whole series. We thought he'd be back game 3, they originally said, but he's obviously out for this whole series. I was looking at the box score, 19 from a vet like Eric Gordon, 12 from Zubac with 15 boards. Russ did 9, 8, and 10. He was breaking. Defense and effort was out the gym, though. What was it? Terrence Mann, he had 10, 24 minutes. Nick Batum got 21 minutes. All I can think about is that freestyle right now. You know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
Just like fourth quarter, why the fuck Batum in? I never seen that. Nah. That's crazy. But Batum got to be like old as hell, bro.
Yeah.
He's got playoff experience, so you got Batum, Kawhi, Russ, Gordon. These are all guys been there, done that, competed. And then on the Suns, obviously, you got championship caliber players that you kind of expected to be ready too. You got KD, Chris Paul, D-Books, just getting his feet wet with the playoff experience last couple years. Because prior to that, not really. But you expected to be even matched. Clippers, they get a big game 1. Mm-hmm. And if they could somehow get out of the series beating them, and then you get PG back, Clippers are scary again.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest surprise for me. I really had nothing but heart in that series. Giannis going down, obviously, plus for the Heat. But even the first quarter and a half he was in, or I think it was just the first quarter, the Heat did a great job of, Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry, those guys getting to their spots, taking those charges against Giannis because, you might foul him. He's strong enough to just go right through you. Like, you sacrifice your body, take that hit. Those are what those two guys are known for. I think Kevin Love came up. He got caught on a block for one of them, but the other one was a charge. Did a great job there. And then Kevin Love, bro, I guess he must be a Goal2Go listener, bro, because he started hitting shit from 3 against the Bucks. It really turned back the clock. Was happy to see that. But the Heat, what they did last game was they shot the 3 ball. They shot the 3 ball well. Even Duncan Robinson came in, $110 million, hit a 3. Like, so.
And your money's worth.
Yeah, him, Gabe Vincent. Duncan's going to have some more minutes with no hero, possibly Oladipo. We'll see where Spoelstra decides to go. Depot more that defensive side of the ball. Duncan, he produces the offense. So we'll see which way he goes and, how he's going to adjust these player minutes. But Jimmy doesn't even sit, bro. So,
yeah,
what he's going to give you.
We've seen the memes. We know Jimmy's going to be out there giving it his all. But, yeah, I think if Tyler Hero was, if he never went down, I think it'd be very, very interesting. And the Heat could have had a really, really, good possibility of winning the series. But I think Giannis is just – that injury throws a huge curveball into not even, just the series, but the entire playoff. So, yeah, that series, it'll be interesting, man, because like you mentioned, the Heat can hit that. They can get that 3 ball to fall, kind of stretch out that defense, and just let Jimmy go to work and do what he does, man. There's a real scenario where the Heat can win this in round 1.
No, for sure. Especially with that injury to Giannis, opens the doors. Doubtful for tomorrow. He doesn't play. The Heat win that one. It's gonna be a hard hole to dig out, even with Giannis if he's back. So it's too early to say must win, but it's a must win for the Heat and for the Bucks. You don't want to go down 2-0. Nobody wants to go down 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be interesting to see. Lakers Grizzlies. They got the first game tomorrow night. Ja Morant hand injury. I think even if he plays, he's at 50, maybe 60%.
Yeah,
It's tough for the Grizzlies. Bad break with all these injuries coming right now, and with Ja, I thought they had a chance, but if Austin Reeves just keeps getting to a bag, it's over, man. I mean, you don't even got to worry about LeBron or AD at that point. They're gonna get theirs.
yeah. That for this game, that was like the biggest takeaway is when you got guys, like Rui and Austin Reeves down the stretch, just stepping up and contributing the way they did, and AD and LeBron like literally taking back seats to them and letting them go to work. I mean, that just really, really just opens up, what they can do on the offense. And I think the Lakers have quietly become, like one of the deepest teams so far in the playoffs. I mean, you saw what Schroeder did in the play-in, hit that big shot, was able to produce a lot on offense. But, in that Grizzlies game, he was kind of quiet, really didn't have a big game. You can always have a Beasley game where he comes in, hits a few threes, he gets hot. I mean, we know what LeBron and AD are going to do, and we just saw what Reeves and Rui are capable of. D'Lo, is he going to have a game where he gets streaky, he can hit a few shots down the stretch? So they have multiple players on this roster where it might not be consistently like every single game they are hot and they hit their shots, but they definitely have some players where they can go off 1 or 2 games and kind of, switch the tides of that game and win them games, whereas, LeBron and AD, they're going to be consistent. And then it's just, penciling. At this point, you would say LeBron, AD, and Reeves, the way he's been performing. And after those 3, you kind of pencil in whatever guy, and that's enough to get you a win in this playoff. So I think the Lakers are a very, very alive team right now.
Yeah. Sixers Nets, I mean, you could pretty much draw that one on the wall.
Yeah, the best thing that happened to the Nets in this series was fucking, what's his name? Catching the body on Embiid, bro.
Was it Cam Johnson? Nah.
No. Yeah, Cam Johnson. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, him catching that body on Embiid. Other than that, it's just.
I mean, yeah,
they have no answer for Embiid.
They're asking a bunch of guys just to put up the
yeah.
impossible. We touched on the T-Wolves Nuggets, man. Denver probably getting out of that one. And then
Jokic is
I mean, Cavs next. That game just tipped off, and we know how good it's going to be. Let's see if the Cavs can get one at home. As the Knicks, they stole one on the road, so, the Knicks kind of in the driver's seat with Game 3, obviously going to go back to the Square Garden.
That game's going to be crazy, bro.
Oh, yeah. New York's rocking. Spike Lee. You might see the power cast out there. Oh, man.
Speaking of power, man, R.I.P. What's his name? Tejada.
Tejada.
You didn't see the last episode?
No, I did.
They killed what's his name at the end?
Who?
Bro, they slipped Buddy Throat. What's his
the
Monet
dad.
Husband. Yeah, the dad. Yeah.
Yeah. You think that was Kane?
No, it was
Oh yeah, it
what's
was
his
the
name?
cousin. It was the cousin
yeah.
because he locked up his pops.
He killed his dad. Yeah. So
yeah, the
like,
two.
Monet set that shit up, man.
Nah, she gave Jit the green light, bro.
I know, that's what I'm saying. She on it. And then
She
it's
on
gonna
it,
look
bro.
like for the kids, like it was a rivalry, like I had nothing to do with it. You feel me?
The only person I gonna know is probably Kane, cause he already knew that she knew. Like, man,
that's another conversation.
Nah, the question is what Tariq gonna do, man.
You're looking like Ghost for real, man. That's all I gotta say.
Oh man, he thought he had his little Tasha and Effie, and he want his little Angela Valdez and Lauren. Just like Pops for
like
real.
Father, like son.
Nah. Anyways, man. Got any last takes before we sign off?
Nah, man. Playoff basketball in full swing. It's exciting.
Def is. Appreciate everybody tuning in. You already know new episodes every week. Goal2Go pod on TikTok, Goal2Go on YouTube, man. You already know what to do. Like, comment, share on TikTok. Same with YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, man, episode 37. We'll be back next week with the draft date closer.
Yeah.
Appreciate everyone tuning in, man. Peace.
Appreciate it.